Hi everyone, welcome to a new devlog of my game Climb Up High. I am currently working on the second level, so I thought in the meantime I could show you my overall process on how I am planning to tackle this project. Having a structure for a larger scale project keeps me motivated, and therefore I want to share my workflow with you. I divided the whole project into 4 phases to be able to keep an overview of where I am standing now and what needs to be done in the future. Phase 1 is all about concept and drafting. First, I started with a prototype as a proof of concept. The first draft was actually a 2D platformer with 3D graphics. I created this 2D level to learn more about Unity. What scared me the most was how I'm going to fill the big and blank background. So I decided to go back to my first idea, which was actually a 3D platformer, located in a 3D environment. So the actual prototype and proof of concept is the level you can play on HIO right now. That gave me the motivation to take this project serious and move it to the next level. In this first level, I already implemented the most important parts that I will need for the game, like player and camera controls and checkpoints. Now, since this is checked, let's move on to the next part of the first phase. Now, this is the most time-intensive part of the whole phase, and it's all about building the basic levels and platforms. And by platforms I mean moving platforms and even some traps. My plan is to have something between 9 and 12 levels, so it's quite a long way to go. The most important part is that I keep everything nice and simple and don't start wasting time on unnecessary details early on. It's really all about creating the main content of the game. In addition to that, I would like to test out some other mechanics like switches and triggers to make the gameplay more fun, but I will see how I can manage that. One of the main challenges I currently have is the controls of the camera. I'm still working on that and I listen to you guys, so don't worry, I will fix that issue. Or at least I'm trying. The last part of the first phase will be to create a save and load feature so that you don't have to restart the whole game after quitting it. The main goal of the first phase is to create a vertical slice of a playable game from start to finish, so that you can experience a whole game only on its bare bones and everything's working as intended, or at least with minor bugs. Phase 2 is all about the design and the details. I'm really looking forward to this phase. The main part will be polishing the levels, and that consists of many different aspects. One of the most important ones is the asset creation. The main task here will be to create a lot of objects to populate the levels. In this part I will have to define how high poly or low poly I want to go with the whole game. I already created a few assets that I may or may not keep for the final version. By creating a lot of objects, there is one very important part to account for, and that is performance. I will want to make sure that my game runs on weaker machines so that a lot of players can enjoy it. A very important part of the visuals are the lights, the HDRI, and the post-process. While creating the first level, I learned what is possible, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. Another feature I'm looking forward to are animations and particles. Currently they are non-existent. Another very important part for the visuals will be textures and shaders. I'm still not sure what kind of look I'm aiming for, but I will see when I get there. Last but not least, we have music and sound effects. What you can hear in the first level, those are only placeholders, but I will dive into this topic as soon as I get there. Some of you already mentioned that you liked the effect in the cave, so I'll keep that in mind. The main goal of Phase 2 is really about making the game look and feel good. In Phase 3, I will focus mainly in story and UI. That means implementing the main story elements into the game. They may consist of some cutscenes and even some dialogues. If I implement dialogues, I would like to have multiple languages, so that I can reach a bigger audience of players. The current UI I have is only a placeholder, and I would really like to redo it completely. Starting from this phase, I really have to think of taking marketing seriously. And by marketing, I mean creating a Steam page and start using other communication channels. But first, I really need something to show. The main goal of this phase will be in-game interactions. The next part will be phase 4, where it's all about testing and polishing. At least in this phase, I will have to dial up my marketing and communication for the game. As I mentioned before, it's still too early to say how I will tackle this topic. I cannot say yet, but there may be some or a lot of playtesting. But you guys already gave me great feedback on this regard, and that will be my next point. That means implementing the feedbacks of players and official test players. Last but not least, it will be time for bug fixing. Since this topic will accompany me through all phases, I will especially focus on the game-breaking ones. The main goal of this phase will be getting the game ready for release. I have no idea when I will achieve this goal, but I guess it will take me about 2 or 3 years. Of course, there will be many overlaps between the single building blocks in each phase. This roadmap is not set in stone, but it is a useful guide to the most important milestones waiting ahead. Thanks for sticking around and see you in the next devlog.